You're going to get that as well. Probably should do that before next time. Cool. Okay, so this is us, David. We are live, but obviously it will be endless material available to most people to enjoy. So welcome to the Marketing Lifeline's Friendly Friday, and today we're in conversation with David Peake from Wild Pursuit Marketing. Thanks so much for joining us, David.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. And as I like to say, it's all about like-minded people sharing things in common and sharing alike. So, and today we're going to get into business about Google Ads. So I know that's often people hear the word Google Ads and they just want to run away. But anyway, we're going to listen to some of David's expert advice and what he can say for us today. So yeah, just thanks again for joining us. I look forward to sharing with you and what you have to share with us. So just before we get into the questions, I'm just going to read a quick bio about David. So David enjoys developing and implementing strategy-driven marketing solutions. He's driven by the desire to conquer the marketing challenges faced by companies. David enjoys identifying and leveraging online and digital marketing opportunities. He particularly enjoys marketing on the internet because it's fast and measurable. This means he can learn quickly and test in live environments with actual humans, a world prime for his strategic ability and the way he likes to think. His aim is to grow his business in a sustainable way while still being an active and present husband and father. So thanks, David. Cool. So as you are also known as online marketing strategist, you know, web development expertise, optimization, SEO, Google Ads, you know, today we're just going to look a little bit more specifically, I think, at Google Ads, because that's often a question a lot of entrepreneurs ask, you know, should I be on search and how do I get there and all those things. So, but before we get on, let's kick off with, tell us a little bit more about Wild Pursuit Marketing and perhaps what your big, hairy, audacious goal is, because I know every time I talk to you, you're extremely passionate and you always have another level that you need to get to because you're never satisfied at every level you are ever at, even though your company has expanded. So yeah, share with us.
Oh, that's cool. I think half the time I'm trying to keep up with an industry that moves incredibly fast. And it's always my game to not be back-footed, but rather front-footed. So in a fast-moving industry, I'm like running to keep up with the industry. And then I'm like, come on, man, let's get ahead of the industry. And so that's definitely why my universe changes a lot and moves fast, especially for the people that talk to me a lot over a few years. Okay, so we're an online marketing agency that's very good at Google Ads and turnkey website building on WordPress. So the focus of our discussion is indeed on Google Ads, but there's almost a paradigm shift that I'm starting to see. Well, I found out about it, I observed it long ago, but the rate of the trend and paradigm shift changing has increased a lot. So what I mean by that is I've always held a high regard for Google Ads and for a good website. And people see them as separate things, and they completely are separate things, but they work together incredibly well. When you understand Google Ads and the website and how they work together, you get efficiency. That's been my discussion for the last 5 years. Nowadays, it's got so much so that if your ads are not well integrated, even at a data flow technical level with your website, they don't work. Like, it's a crazy new world. So we'll dip our toes into that. But we can't describe our company as just Google Ads or just websites. We're ads and how it works with websites. Our stuff generally works for medium and large businesses. Small businesses have a unique, and startups have a unique position. And I generally tend to have discussions in terms of positioning myself at the medium and large business space, because my advice would shift slightly if I was talking only to a small business or to a startup.
Yeah.
Is that okay if we?
Yeah. Yes.
I think, sorry, I got lost on my intro there, but you see, we like to underpin our marketing with marketing strategy so that we can measure and deliver on sales growth. If marketing is not driving sales growth, it's just a lovely, fluffy thing. So you've got to figure out how your strategy can be measurable and how you can measure that strategy against sales growth. If we're not achieving sales growth for a company, then I'm almost arguing we're not doing marketing, we're just doing cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so
cool.
So just
my 𝗸ሔር.
Yeah, okay, your 𝗸ሔር. Yeah, tell us your 𝗸ሔር.
The latest version of my 𝗸ሔር. It has actually stayed quite constant. My 𝗸ሔር is to fundamentally change an industry. I hate people talking about disruption. Like, disruption's not a goal, it's a byproduct. Disruption happened by mistake when we were chasing something much bigger than that. So I dislike the way that large retailers bully the suppliers that sell through those large retailers. I absolutely dislike that. I also hate the way that the malls bully the shop owners into forced shop hours. You know, you go into a mall and you see some little breakfast style restaurant being forced to be open at 9 o'clock on Friday night. Nobody buys breakfast at 9 o'clock on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Why are they forced into the mall hours? And then the malls take percentage of turnover, and so malls screw people and large retailers screw suppliers, and I really don't like that. So my 𝗸ሔር is to flip the power balance on one of these large industries. I want to take a client so big and so strong that they're actually part of flipping the power balance and changing an industry structure forever. There will be a point at which e-commerce overthrows brick and mortar retail, and I'd love to be taking a couple of clients through that game.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's just reaffirm that is definitely one 𝗸ሔር. So yeah, I have some ideas of revolutionizing marketing, but I have absolute faith in you that is something that potentially could be achieved. And it's crazy to think, because the other day I was talking to a guy, and you know, you typically go to these little markets that happen on the weekend, you know, it's the family outing, and then you look at all these people kind of sitting there desperately trying to sell an item just to make up the cover their table cost and whatever. And I just look at them, and all I want to do is go to each one of them and go, don't you just want to put your product online? Then you wouldn't have to sit here all day in the sun, catching a tan, looking desperate. And I hear you, like, there is a need for people interaction, and there's a place for everything, but I absolutely agree with you. In some areas, I think we're wasting our time. People can be far more efficient, have greater sales, and that's online. So I will support you all the way. So why do you believe, though, that Google ads are, never mind the strategy and, as you've said, the website working together with Google and completely, because I often refer to Google as a lady. She's quite difficult. She wants things to be in order, and she's definitely not going to pay any attention to you if you're not giving her what she wants. So why do you believe Google ads are a key consideration for businesses that want to be found on the web?
So you know, it makes me laugh that a couple of weeks ago, I was on an international Google conference, and they gave us such a cool stat. And this is not their stat, but everyone's like, oh, Facebook reached 2 billion users, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's amazing. Facebook's so big, and people love Facebook. Okay, as we stream here, Mark's going to come and hunt me down, but like, people have this big perception of Facebook because it's big in their life.
Yes. Because
they spend a lot of time there, or they spend a lot of time marketing there, and it consumes their view, and they're not looking around the side of it. So here's the stat from that Google event. Google reaches 90% of the people who use the internet. So while Facebook's got a big number, just think, through the Google tools, can you imagine how very big the internet is? To have a statement as insane as they reach through their tools, you can reach through Google Ads tools, you can reach 90% of the people on the internet. That's why this is an important discussion.
Okay.
That would be reason one, but that's hard to make concrete and to like shift and apply to the person. So I can give a little more if you'd like.
Yeah, go for it. So yeah, go. I mean, because I think that's everyone's thing is obviously every you know, we have part agreements and part not, but yes, every sale begins with search, right? We obviously want to talk about creating awareness before there's even a search thing, but right now it is every sale begins with search. So I think that's a key for us. Why Google Ads?
Yeah, exactly. So you led straight into where I was going. You get top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So the sales funnel can be applied as a marketing tool in terms of the psychology of where people are at in the continuum of going from zero awareness to making a purchase. And that funnel can be, you know, the funnel I'm talking about can be confused with a sales funnel, but it's already the same thing applied at different levels in different ways. But if we're talking in a marketing pre-sales contact, so before someone touches your sales rep as a result of the marketing, okay, there's a whole funnel of top, middle, and bottom. So I don't know if we need to define all the funnel parts, but well, the top of the funnel, very briefly, is awareness. It's awareness of a problem. So people have got, there's something wrong, okay, but they haven't fully defined their problem. They just know they've got a problem, like my business is not growing, or I don't know how to get out there. That's people's first problem. That's the top of the funnel. Then the middle of the funnel.
My dog has a runny nose.
Yes. So now that's mid funnel. They like, what's wrong with the dog that it's got a runny nose? So they need to define their problem better, and they're going to say, okay, am I going to read about it online, or am I going to phone my mom, or am I going to go to a vet? So now they're looking at different types of solutions. As they get out the bottom of mid funnel and go into bottom of funnel, the definition of getting into bottom of funnel is, should I go to vet at the mall or vet on the corner by the kids' school? So now you're choosing between two vets because you at the top, you didn't know what quite was wrong, just the dog was behaving strangely. You realized it was the nose, you investigated a bit further, you could read more. And so as you move, you're now down at the bottom of the funnel and you're like choosing which vet to go to because vet's going to be the right solution. So that's your three funnel areas, and we can advertise and market into all three areas of that. But the reason why Google's such a critical tool in your arsenal is that historically Google Ads has been bottom of funnel, BOFU, like the best place to get a person looking to buy a product for exactly what you sell. That's where people take their problems. They go to the internet looking for a vet near me, cheap vet, fast vet, expensive vet, pedigree vet. They're hunting down. And so that's why Google's so important at like a global level, because it's the quickest way to get the people who are already looking to buy right now. And for the last 10 years, that's definitely been the case. Over the last 2 years, Google started to build their ability in the mid and the top of the funnel. Historically, Facebook was very good at the top of funnel, rubbish at the bottom. Google's moved backwards over the last 2 years, well, in the sales, and they've developed their ability in mid and top funnel to reach people through the whole funnel. And they're actually building models to help understand how to get people through those funnels, what advertising to do, and they know where people are in their buying journey, and I can tap into that with the advertising with appropriate content that drives people to the next step in the journey.
Okay, so are you done? Are you happy with your?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So I think so as you said, you kind of went into the terms of funnel space. I think that is also quite an essential point. Is we want to be able to create buyer's intent. Let's put it that way. You know, we want people to make them aware that they have a dog with a runny nose. And that's essentially, as you say, Google's now opened up those opportunities for us. So that's fantastic, because as you say, I think there's also perhaps perception, even in my space, is Google Ads is more of that a buyer's intent, knowing, okay, my dog's got a runny nose, what can I do? Or, you know, so and then just following on to what you said about bringing the website together. I think we perhaps need to just touch on that, is maybe why the website is so important for the Google ad, because it's also kind of can't put a Google campaign out there also with false hope that you're going to be found if your website is perhaps also not quite where it should. Maybe we could just quickly chat about that before we go on to the next question, because I think that's quite relevant as well. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, cool. So at a very basic level, people click on a Google ad and go to your website. That's the simple mechanism. Like, they don't necessarily buy from the advert. The advert triggers an action, which 99% of the time is to take the person to the website to take an action. So think of any of the different Google ad platforms. Google Ads is about finding people and putting them on your website. So that's how the link is, okay? When a person goes to the website, their behavior on that website gives Google all sorts of information. So if I go to Vet1's website as a result of Vet Near Me or Vet Open Now, I go to Vet1's website. If I spend 5 seconds there and disappear, obviously, like, the person didn't like that website. If the person spends 1.5 minutes on that website, goes to the contact us page, clicks on the phone button, fills in a form, books a slot through a Calendly invite or something, we've just told that website that that person was interested in like Vet1. So all that data, so Google knows that the person spent 1.5 minutes on the website, knows which pages they visited, how long they spent. Google also knows what a typical person does across that website. So if you follow the typical person path on that website and turn into an inquiry, then Google knows that, like, that's the behavior that leads to the inquiry. So your website, when it's built well to help people get to that point, is a valuable tool. When your website's data flows to Google Analytics and to Google Ads, you're openly communicating what equals success for you to Google Ads and to Google, the whole Google universe. So your website is a way of telling Google
scoring
what is success. Yes.
I told you, Google's just like a woman. She's very clever, huh?
So now, how cool is this, okay? If someone went through all that behavior and ended up on Vet1 and went back into Google and started searching again, Google knows that that person is in the market for vet services. So now I can run a different set of Google ads or a different Google tool, chasing people in an in-market audience for vet services. And they don't even need to use the keyword looking for a vet near me. Yeah. They might jump on 𝗸{h}" to check their speed test and suddenly see a visual photographic ad from Google that says, hey, we got an even closer vet for you, or a nicer vet, or a vet specialized in Labradors. And so we know that, yeah, those people are in market because of their behavior on someone else's website. We can put our ad in front of those people. And then a next step on that is, what about complete strangers who meet the same criteria as in market, but they happen to be doing something else? I can also show ads to those people. In Facebook, they call it lookalike audience. Google's got a different name, but it's the same concept. I can go and get my ads in front of people that are similar audiences, similar to the people who are in market. And so that's the route as to how they interface. The website helps send data to Google and to the advertiser. If you don't have a website, or if your website's built very badly, it doesn't produce that data. And then we don't have intelligence flowing back into the machine that helps forecast who's a good person and who's a bad person.
Cool. Sorry, I think that was a key point that we needed to just clarify there, because I think that's often also something, you know, business owners tend to kind of go out and do their own Google ad campaigns, and then they don't have the next connection, which is obviously how the website is structured and so forth. So just on to our next question then. So what is your feeling then? Why do business owners always kind of get the feel that Google ads are like expensive, or sometimes maybe even a waste of money, as typically our customers come to us saying, I've spent so much money on Google Ads and I've got absolutely no leads. But like, when does it work and when doesn't it work? Like maybe you can just give us a bit of an idea as to why it's got this perception.
So this is a paradigm shift that unlocks this for people, I think. Is a Toyota 4x4 bakkie a waste or expensive? If you're driving your kids to school on a 5-kilometer tar road, then do you really need 4x4 capabilities and all that wind resistance? But if you're trying to reverse a boat down a beach, it's not going to happen with your little Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
So it's purpose. So the first thing is fit for purpose is essential. The second thing is traditionally many people, and it's still happening today, people look at the cost per click. So Facebook, you might spend 1,000 Rand and get 1,000 clicks, and therefore your cost per click is 1 Rand. Google, you might spend 1,000 Rand and only get 250 clicks. So your cost per click would be 4 Rand for Google, 1 Rand for Facebook. So we jump to the conclusion that Google Ads is expensive. However, when you have your website integrated with Facebook and your website data flow integrated with Google Ads, and your website is designed to produce an inquiry, a conversion, convert a person from a visitor into an inquiry, we can then start to say, okay, do those 4 Rand Google clicks lead to an inquiry? Or do the Facebook clicks lead to an inquiry? Okay. What I'll typically find is that those 4 Rand Google clicks will produce an inquiry at a better rate than Facebook. So we spend 1,000 at Facebook, get 1,000 clicks, get 2 inquiries. We're at a 500 Rand cost per inquiry. Google, 1,000 Rand spent, only 250 people. Maybe we get 10 inquiries. Cost per click is 10 Rand. So now we're saying Google Ads, high cost per click, but it only costs us 100 Rand per conversion. Facebook costs us 500 Rand for a conversion, which is more expensive.
Okay, so I agree with you. I think it's maybe just that initial upfront, when people kind of go into doing a bit of Google AdWords and see how much the cost per clicks are, they want to probably fall off their chair, because sometimes you're looking at 30 to, is it sometimes 100 Rand per click, depending
Easy.
on?
Yeah, it can, you can, I don't mind paying 150 Rand if it produces an inquiry.
If you know exactly. And I think, yeah, so I think just a note for me on that is that value of client. Lord, what is your lifetime value of a client? What is, or what is even the value to you as a purchase? If the purchase of a client is a guaranteed 5,000 Rand, well, guess what? There's actually no harm in actually spending 5,000 Rand, right? To guarantee us almost getting 1 client potentially, and so forth. So I hear what you're saying is rather measure and see, as you say, versus spending LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, Facebook versus Google, and actually the quality of leads, because often I find as well, maybe Facebook leads generally don't always give quality, but definitely quantity.
So there is an additional, it's fairly short though, there's an additional, a bit extra on that. And I was chatting to Tanya from Tanya. The entry level for success on Google Ads is higher than Facebook. So it's like your buy-in is a bit higher. So off 1,000 Rand Facebook, you'll get that 1 lead, and it'll cost you quite a lot, but you can maybe get a lead for 1,000 Rand. Google, if you only spend 1,000 Rand, you might not get that lead. It's at the scale of 5 or 10 grand. So it's just your entry level's higher, but the net effect is more successful. But the entry level's a bit higher. So it's not that it's more expensive, it's just that the buy-in to get started is higher and more complicated. That's why it's got that perception. But
so
ultimately,
it's actually a better long-term investment.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not let's do a Google campaign this month like Facebook, hop off, hop back on, hop off. Because I don't even want to go into it, but I know there's a whole algorithm, and it takes Google time, again, being that woman she is, takes time for her to also get that in line and like and trust, and then we'll start referring. So I know it does take time. It's not like a Facebook campaign that can feed you quite quickly with leads. So let's hop on, because I know David and I generally talk for hours when we talk anyway. So can you maybe just share with us, I mean, whether you're in a small, medium or large company, I mean, let's look at some of the top tips that one should really consider before doing Google Ads or potentially wanting to do Google Ads.
Okay, cool. So the first one, do you have a website? We've covered that. The second one, do you have a clear marketing objective? Like, do you know what you're trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve X? Like, do you have a clear marketing objective? Then 3, do you have a way to measure if your marketing is working? And also very important, a way to measure if it's not working, okay? Because remember, when you advertise on any platform, you're amplifying your marketing mix to many people. Like, you're putting it on a loudspeaker and you're telling a lot of people about it. So if you're amplifying something weak, that's not going to yield great results. Additionally, when you advertise, you must remember that you're testing your whole marketing mix. You're testing your price, you're testing the creative copy you're writing, you're testing your value proposition, you're testing your trust level. So it's not just about the platform, you're also testing other things. There are other things that happen. And so if you don't start at good strategy, and if you don't start at good, with a good value proposition or an overpriced product, whatever, you're just amplifying your problem. You have to have your core right. So that would be sort of the third point is, like, are you measuring? So do you have a website? Do you have an objective? Are you able to measure your objective? And then a bonus fourth variable, I guess, is, should you use an agency? Something to consider, like, do you do it yourself or do you use an agency? A better question is, how do you choose an agency? But that's a long topic, and we'll have to maybe answer that in another video.
Yeah.
But while you're waiting for that video, you're welcome to jump on my website and send me a WhatsApp and I'll give you a quick answer. And now you know what a hook and a call to action is.
Well played. And I liked your bonus being thrown in there too. And the final call to action. So, okay, so just moving on to our last question. Because you're often quite, you share things with me and you say how it's changed and how things are going to be changing, and yesterday is another day. So basically my question is, where do you see Google Ads today, tomorrow, and in the near future? Because I know it's like ever changing, and as you've just mentioned, I mean, Google have also changing their ways and what they're doing, and the capabilities are just insane. So just give us a little bit of an end on that so we can get excited maybe.
Yeah, so let's just get a little controversial there. Google Ads has always been about keywords. Okay, like, my ability to choose keywords over the last few years has been essential. Like, I know which keywords are people just messing around and which keywords have lots of buyer's intent in them. I reckon that in the next 1 year, maybe 5 years, keywords are going to disappear. I've got a couple of accounts where we just use the company's name, their company name, and Google then just figures out another 50 great keywords associated with that company name. They know that company is about this product, this product, this product, this product. We haven't even told Google which keywords to use, because Google's looking at all those audiences, those buying behaviors I told about, and the conversion tracking that we're sending back to Google. So Google knows more about the people than the people know. So some accounts, I'm like, it doesn't matter what the keyword's using. If they just type in Labrador, because of the person's previous history across other websites and everything, Google knows that they've got a Labrador with a sick Labrador, and then we run ads against that. So now the keyword that triggered that ad is Labrador, but in many cases, Google's got sometimes 900 data points on a person in order to forecast their behavior before they even pop that keyword in. That triggered the ad. So that's the future of ads. So that future needs good conversion measurement and tracking on the website, so that it can tell Google what is success, and therefore bypass the need for keywords altogether.
Oh, that's amazing. That's like a breakthrough though. I think that's
proper insane.
Yes. That sounds like quite exciting in a way. But my question is, if we haven't ever, if a company for say hasn't ever done any Google ads, will Google still recognize them and what they do? Yes,
Google knows all sorts of
data,
stuff
everything.
about the company.
Okay, cool.
If you've got a website, Google's been collecting data on you.
Just like my phone collects data on us every day.
Yeah. So the problem is this trips us into the privacy discussion, and I just want to differentiate Facebook and Google Ads. Facebook seems to be fighting like, oh dear advertiser, you might experience some performance drops because Apple took us off their privacy things and everything. So Facebook's got the like dirty fight this thing. Google's positioning as we're going to help change the industry. Here's a platform to completely fix privacy issues. And we've got big data to crunch, use first-party data, and we're going to get lost in that discussion. But Google's on a mission to partner and create the platform that gives people the privacy they want. And they've got very exciting tools around allowable advertising, whereas Facebook's just fighting. So that's your very far future. So the right now future is audiences and keywords are less important, audiences and conversion tracking. And then the slightly more distant future is privacy. Privacy is going to break everything. And Google's got clever ways to still do it ethically. It's not about clever ways to get around it. It's clever ways that everybody agrees is fair and nice and gives us success and doesn't steal privacy.
Awesome. Okay, I think let's call it there, David. It's been really interesting, and even I've learned something today. So totally excited about that news of Google. Yeah, I think it's always like, how are we going to warm up to this Google? And it's all about keywords and what are people searching for? And I mean, the number of tools available to help us makes it easier, but at the same time, it doesn't. So I'm totally excited about that. So thank you. Thanks for sharing with us. I've really enjoyed. I'm sure everyone's also learned a lot. And as you say, we might have to do some more sessions on that. But yeah, so join us again next week. I'll be joined by Matt Robinson from the Robertson Reporter, How to Write Your Own Book. So if you enjoyed the interview, please do give us a comment or go on and share it, and we'll also be uploading it on YouTube. But thanks again so much to you, David, and we'll see everyone same time, same place next week. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan. Bye.
Thanks, David. Cool.